Hello friends, welcome into another video. I'm DasFood, and today I wanted to address a comment I got on one of my videos, and it was something I meant to address earlier, but after I recorded my first answer to it, I didn't feel quite satisfied with it, so I sat on it, I waited, and in time I was like, you know what, we can do this better. We can do this again, and we can make it a little less rambly. So the question came from a viewer named Spy is Here, which I believe is a Team Fortress reference, a TF2 reference, and he said, I have a question. How do I get an audience as a Dead by Daylight creator, if you don't mind me asking? And firstly, no, of course I don't mind. I greatly appreciate that you think I'm somebody who could help in this regard, and I'm always excited to try to help other people, because I had people help me along the way. And, you know, especially though, there are always times where you feel kind of lost and you feel like, oh, I really wish somebody could lend a helping hand. So if in some way this video can help somebody, that would be fantastic. And it would make me feel like I did a good thing. So let's talk about making it as a DBD content creator. I've broken it down into 5 basic tips because I am Watch Mojo. But, you know, I'm not going to do the voice. I'm not going to do the hello and welcome in. Today, we are going to look at 5 top tips. That's really more behind the meme, isn't it? Huh. Regardless, what I wanted to do is I wanted to break it down into 5 general, pretty easy to follow tips, and I genuinely think they're going to help because I put a lot of thought into these. Again, I had to rewrite it because I was like, yeah, we can do this better. So let's get into it. I don't want to waste your time here. Tip number 1 is diversify. And for most people, having a Twitch channel is not nearly enough. Sure, a select few are blessed enough to be able to make it off of that alone, but most people don't see that kind of success. Start a YouTube channel, post regular content. Even if you only post 1 video a month, keep your schedule somewhat regular. You know, people need to know when they can expect to see something new from you. And you can even do it like I do, right? Generally, I shoot for 3 videos a week. Sometimes those come out Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Some days, sometimes they're Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You know, I shoot for 3. I'd like to hit 5, but I want to hit at least 3 videos a week. That's what my audience can expect from me. Have the same thing with your audience. Make sure they know that, hey, it's only going to be once a month, you know, like Drew Gooden, or, you know, maybe it's only going to be once every few months, like JonTron or something like that, but let them know what to expect from you. Also, probably stick to doing like at least 1 a month, because, you know, the top YouTube creators can get away with waiting multiple months, but if you're trying to, you know, if you're hungry and trying to claw your way up, you can't. Maintaining a somewhat active social media presence, I would also say that's important. So it's not going to kill you to tweet or post to Instagram or Facebook a few times a week. It won't kill you, but it might help your channel grow. So I realize if you're like me, you probably don't like social media just a whole lot. Like, it's just not really your thing. But you'll notice if you go and you check my Twitter, I post a few times a week. I'll post a meme here and there. I'll reply to somebody here and there. You know, I get on and I do enough so that people are like, oh yeah, Food has a Twitter, at DasFood Gaming, by the way, in case you're interested. But that's important to do. You want to make sure that people can find you on multiple outlets. Lastly, for diversifying, I would say create a Discord. I know it's hard, right? Because when you first make it, it's going to be sparsely populated. There's not really going to be anyone there. It's going to be quiet. It's going to be dead. And sometimes people are going to be jerks and come in and be like, oh, wow, what a dead Discord. But you will eventually be glad you have it. It is a huge tool to have for an aspiring streamer and or content creator. Tip number 2 is to shop smart. There's absolutely no reason to break the bank when you first get into content creation. But you also do need to know what you're going to pay for. What to pay for and what to kind of, you know, so some things you should really be okay with shelling out the big bucks for it. And other things, you should try to find cost-effective alternatives. So a good example of this, but certainly not all, content creators conduct business from a PC. This is where they'll play DBD, it's where they'll record it, it's where they'll edit their videos, make their thumbnails, all of that. Of all the things you're going to have to buy, I would say that getting a solid PC is the most important. Don't overdo it though. There's literally no reason to spend $8,000 or more on your first PC. I would say if you get a PC that is somewhere in the range of $3,000 to $4,000, that will be a PC that can carry you for quite a while. Now, eventually you will have to upgrade it. You'll have to do something. I get that. But I would say that if you're in that $3,000 to $4,000 range, you're getting a pretty good PC. And maybe you don't even have to spend that much. You know, maybe you can find good deals, but right now PCs are kind of expensive because of part scarcity. The next thing I would say is if you're planning on being a console creator, I have good news for you. You don't have to spend nearly as much. Just get your hands on an Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, whatever, and you're good to go. You know, that's going to be a lot cheaper, a lot more cost effective in terms of the startup. You will also need a capture card to record it, and I do highly recommend the Elgato. It's the industry standard for a reason. Next, I would say no need to break the bank for a microphone. I think that for all the flack it catches from elitists, the Blue Yeti is a fantastic mic that should carry you for multiple years. I mean, there are full-time streamers who still use this mic. It's not a bad mic. Don't let elitists who tell you that if you don't have a Shure SM7B, you're not really playing with the big boys. No, believe me, the Blue Yeti is fine. Next, I would say that it's tempting to go big. Start off, you know, you want to buy the Adobe Suite. Oh, that looks nice. Wow, I want to use the Adobe Suite. But I recommend against this when you're first starting. If you have the disposable income to do it, sure, go for it. But I would say start off with DaVinci Resolve, which is a free alternative to Premiere Pro. And honestly, it's pretty solid. I've used it before. Most of what you will learn in Resolve will transition extremely easily to Premiere once you're more comfortable with paying for it. Once you feel like, okay, I'm actually ready to kind of fork over the cash for the Adobe Suite. As for Photoshop, it's a nice service, but it's also a little pricey. So you're going to laugh at this, but Microsoft Paint is literally free, and while not as useful, it still gets the job done. You can still, you can still make things in Paint if you need to. Because remember, your first few videos are probably not going to get any views anyway. Mine certainly didn't. And it's just kind of better this way. It's better to get your feet wet before you start breaking the bank. Tip number 3 would be to network wisely. Without networking, growth is rather difficult, and nothing is going to launch your channel into the stratosphere, quite like a shout out from a massive creator, be it in the form of a YouTube video that shouts you out specifically, or a Twitch raid, which is always awesome. Still, you're going to have to give large creators a reason to care about you, right? They're not just gonna get this sixth sense that maybe they should shout out your channel. But with that being said, don't beg Otstarva, Otofu, Umbra, Spooky Loops, all that, any large creator to be your friend, because they won't. And it's not because they're not all lovely people. I'm sure they are. It's because if they shouted out every person who wanted to get big off of their name, they'd never find time to produce their own content. So think of it like EBagging. Everybody can generally agree that EBagging for money is a bad thing. It's also bad to EBag for clout. Don't do it. What I would recommend instead is that you find similarly sized content creators and you grow together. Go into opponents' games and say something to the extent of, hey, I was the clown. GG's, you guys played well. And if they're chill and you could see yourself vibing with them, spend more time in their streams. Vibe with them. And also, this is a big thing. When you do have kind of similarly sized creators, don't be afraid to reach out and say, hey, would you like to do a collab video? Would you like to do a collab stream? Something like that. The worst they can do is say no. Maybe for whatever reason it angers them. They're, oh, how dare you? But it's going to be a pretty small minority, and you don't want to really associate with those types anyway, that are going to get angry that you asked to play a game. So I would say don't be afraid of putting yourself out there. You have to be a little willing to put your foot in the door if you want to get your foot in the door, right? Tip number 4 is identify your niche. Every creator brings something unique to the table, that being themselves. Figuring out how to harness your uniqueness for communal gain is a massive part of making it as a content creator. Are you super into the lore of the game? Becoming an informational channel like Pixel Bush might be the thing for you. Do you enjoy funny montages? Consider the Noob 3 JRM route. Are you absolutely cracked at Dead by Daylight? Creators like Scorpions and Vulpixia have made names off of how skilled they are. Find what you do best and hit that vein. And hit the vein hard. Go for it. Really try to stake your claim that this is what I do well. And remember, not every content creator needs a quote-unquote signature skill that defines them. Take my channel. I'm not that good at the game. I'm not a skilled editor. And I misquote the lore on a near daily basis. But people seem to like what I'm putting out there. Why? Because it's genuine. It's me. I love what I do, and that shines through in my videos. I follow the golden rule of content creation, and you should too. Make the videos that you want to watch. Also, as an aside, figure out what your vibe is and stick with it. Some creators take the game extremely seriously. Some, like me, don't. Some enjoy raging at other players. Others are chill as hell. Even within vibes, there are subgenres. Sure, you want to be funny, but are you more over-the-top funny or dry and understatedly funny? Find your lane and stick to it. By doing this, you will attract viewers who like you for you, and not you just because you made videos related to something they wanted to know at the moment. You want them to like you for you. And lastly, tip number 5 is be realistic. Everybody wants to quit their day jobs and become a full-time streamer. For the first time in a long time, school kids aren't saying they want to be firefighters, astronauts, or rock stars. These days, they want to be like Ninja, they want to be like Moist Critical, they want to be like Code Miko, etc, etc. Everyone and their mother wants to make it as a content creator, and many of them will turn to streaming, they'll turn to YouTube, they'll turn to all these things that they've seen other people, their heroes, make it on. Twitch, YouTube, and content creation in general is a brutal, bloody battlefield, and very few will ever truly, quote-unquote, make it. In choosing to make DBD content, you've chosen to tackle one of the most competitive games in all of content creation. There are titans, gods, giants, heroes, and local celebrities in DBD already. Upon starting, you're none of these things. You're at the base of Mount Olympus, and you have quite the climb ahead of you. So, how do you make that climb a little more doable? Define what success is to you, and go from there. What are you looking to get out of streaming? If you are looking for a fun hobby, then you are almost guaranteed to succeed, and nobody can take that away from you. If you're looking for a new full-time job, understand the expansiveness of the labyrinth that lies ahead of you. Understand that you have to get past Cerberus at the gates of Hades if you're ever going to make it back out into the world you want to enter into. I know all of this sounds so hyperbolic, but streaming takes insane dedication, perseverance, and mental fortitude. It's not as easy as it seems. I was guilty of this, by the way. When I first got into it, I thought, well, if I stream kind of consistently and, I crack some jokes and yada yada, it'll be fine. It'll go really well. And then 3 years later, I was like, wait, there's still like almost nobody watching. What's happening here? You need to understand that it can really, those numbers on the screen of how many people are viewing you or watching your YouTube videos, they can really cut into your psyche, and you need to be ready for that. All of that said, content creation is an absolute blast, and I highly encourage all interested parties to give it a try. At worst, you fail, which, it does build character. And at best, you achieve your wildest dreams, and we all get to partake in your content. We get to see what you put out into the world. And honestly, Dead by Daylight is a much happier place when more unique voices are offering what they bring to the table. But that's going to do it for me. I hope this helped. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please do feel free to ask. And as always, I do hope that if you have a question kind of like Spy had, go on, shoot it to me. I might make a full video responding to it because it was a good question. But again, that's going to do it for me. I've been Das Food. Do make sure to catch me on Twitch and Twitter if you would like to. But that'll do it for me until I get another video out. And until next time, bye friends.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my